Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving into the December 10th patch notes. There are some big changes that will significantly change metas, as well as how the game feels to play, so let's break it all down. First up, we've got some major adjustments to weapon motion. Treyarch has reduced visual recoil, turn sway, and gun kick across the board. For most weapons, especially full auto guns, you'll notice much more stability when moving and firing, especially while ADS. Idle sway is now more consistent, meaning that when you aim down sights, the weapon's sway delay is reduced to a standard 2.2 seconds across the board. Melee weapons have also been adjusted across the board. For those of you who enjoy playing zombies, this enhancement will make using these weapons even more effective during those early rounds, which I'm particularly excited about. Moving over to multiplayer, we've got changes to the Hacienda map with spawn logic adjustments to improve flow. Face-off and 10v10 modes now have increased score limits, which should make these games not feel so short. In Prop Hunt, props are getting a speed boost, except for the extra large ones. I don't know about you guys, but I already thought the props were fast. Flak Jacket will finally function properly, as Treyarch has reduced the frag grenade's inner radius damage. This is an excellent fix because using Flak Jacket in ranked play almost felt pointless. Now for the weapon adjustments. Treyarch is making headshot damage more rewarding, reducing the number of headshots required for a kill with full auto weapons. Almost all of the ARs and SMGs have received buffs and nerfs that will shift the overall weapon meta as these changes settle in. The AK-74 received an adjustment to its headshot multiplier. It has been changed from 15% to a 27% multiplier. The Ames 85 received an adjustment to its headshot multiplier. It's been changed from a 12% to a 20% multiplier. The CHF barrel has also received a buff as well as a reduction in the attachment's additional visual recoil. Treyarch has also added in a medium damage range that deals 22 damage, one less damage than prior within the same range. It will still deal 23 damage at close range. These changes will make the aims slightly less effective at mid-range, but it will be mostly hard to notice the difference. The AS Val received a nerf to its headshot multiplier. It's been changed from a 30% to a 24% multiplier. Despite this debuff, damage at all ranges has been increased, which should make this weapon more competitive at all ranges. The C9 received a buff to its headshot multiplier. It has been changed from a 10% to a 27% multiplier. The CHF barrel's multiplier has also been adjusted from 20% to 35%. Damage at all ranges has been nerfed slightly, but the damage ranges have been increased across the board. This will make the C9 slightly less powerful, but more effective at long range. The Goblin received a buff to its headshot multiplier. It's been changed from a 15% to a 25% multiplier. The CHF barrel has also been changed from 40% to 50%. The Goblin now also has a short damage range that deals an additional point of damage, but the mid-range has been nerfed by 2 damage points. The GPMG received a buff to its headshot multiplier, which has been changed from a 12% to a 15% multiplier. The CHF barrel has been nerfed from 30% to a 25% multiplier. Damage at all ranges have received a slight buff on this weapon. The GPR91 received a buff to its headshot multiplier. It's been changed from a 15% to a 25% multiplier. The CHF barrel's multiplier has also been buffed from 20% to 35%. The short damage range has been shortened by a couple meters, but overall this gun should perform about the same. The Jackal has become even more powerful, receiving lots of buffs across the board with the exception of a slight damage reduction at close range. The increase in distance on all damage ranges will make the Jackal even more competitive at medium and long-range gunfights. The Compact 92 received a buff to its headshot multiplier. It's been increased from 10% to 24%. The CHF barrel's multiplier has also been buffed from 30% to 40%. All damage ranges have been extended with an additional point of damage being added at long range. These adjustments are nothing but good for the Compact, as it will perform better at all ranges. The Krig received a buff to its headshot multiplier from 15 to 25%, but did not receive any adjustments to its damage ranges. Despite this, it did get some adjustments to its sprint to fire time, as well as an increase to its visual recoil. This weapon was already at the top of the ARs, so it will be nice to see how it compares after this update. The KSV received a buff to its headshot multiplier from 10% to 25%. The CHF barrel has also been buffed from 30% to 38%. No damage values have been changed, but damage ranges have been increased across the board. This will make the KSV more effective at all ranges. The Model L received a buff to its headshot multiplier from 15% to 25%. The CHF barrel will produce slightly more visual recoil than before, but this shouldn't feel too noticeable since visual recoil has been reduced across all weapons with this update. The Model L will now deal an additional point of damage at short and medium range, but otherwise remains unchanged. The PP919 received buffs to its damage output at medium range, as well as a buff to all damage ranges. This will make the PP919 more effective at all ranges, with the most noticeable difference at medium range gunfights. The PU21 received a buff to its CHF barrel attachment. The multiplier has been increased from 35% to 40%. It will also now deal an additional point of damage at close and medium range. The SOG received a buff to its headshot multiplier from 16% to 25%. The CHF barrel has also been buffed from 24% to 30%. The SOG's rapid fire attachment has been nerfed, making the range penalty and fire rate slightly worse. Overall, all damage ranges have been increased, which will make the SOG slightly more effective at range. The Tanto received buffs to all damage ranges, as well as a slight buff to its medium range damage, making it better overall. The XM4 received a buff to its headshot multiplier from 15% to 25%. The CHF barrel multiplier was also buffed from 25% to 30%. Treyarch has actually completely removed the medium damage range from this weapon, making it equally effective at short and medium range, with a slight reduction in damage output. The XMG's CHF barrel attachment has received some adjustments to its visual recoil, giving it a slight increase. As previously mentioned, this shouldn't feel too noticeable since visual recoil has been reduced across all weapons with this update. That's it for today's patch note breakdown. This is a huge update that will definitely change a lot of loadout metas. What do you think of these changes? Let me know in the comment section below. Don't forget to hit that like button if you found this useful, and subscribe for more Call of Duty content. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.